Let me tell you something you probably thought you would never hear, not in a million years, and certainly not from a mainstream financial institution like this. Chase Bank, one of the biggest, most conservative, and most recognized banking giants in the entire world, has officially, and we have this confirmed from multiple internal sources, opened its doors for the exchange of the Iraqi Dinar and the Vietnamese Dong, with a live start date of November 5th. Let that sink in for just a moment. This isn't a rumor from a fringe website. This isn't a cryptic message from a Telegram group. This is Chase Bank. This is the same bank that holds your mortgage, that manages your credit card, that represents the very heart of the established Western financial system. And as of right now, they are putting their immense reputation on the line by facilitating exchanges for these two specific currencies, currencies that for decades have been the subject of the most intense speculation, hope, and frankly, skepticism in the history of alternative investments. This is not a drill. This is happening. And the implications of this single action are so profound, so earth-shattering for the global economic order, that if you understand even a fraction of what this truly means, you will realize that the world we went to sleep in last night is not the world we are waking up in today. This is the validation that an entire community of investors has been waiting for, not for months, but for years. Think about the journey of the Iraqi dinar. We are talking about a currency that was once a powerhouse in the Middle East, backed by a nation with arguably some of the largest proven oil reserves on the planet. Then came the wars, the sanctions, the instability that completely decimated its value, turning it into a fraction of a penny. For years, the dream, the narrative, has always been about a revaluation, a reinstatement to its former glory, an event that would not only rebuild Iraq but create a wave of newfound wealth for those who had the foresight to hold the currency through its darkest days. But that dream was always met with a wall of resistance from the very banks and financial institutions that are supposed to facilitate global currency trade. They called it a scam, they said it was impossible, they warned investors away. But now, one of the most prominent members of that very establishment is not just acknowledging the Iraqi dinar, they are creating a formal, official pathway for its exchange. This is a complete and total game changer. It shifts the entire conversation from the shadows of speculation into the bright lights of mainstream finance. Why would Chase Bank, with its army of lawyers, risk analysts, and compliance officers, take such a monumental step if there wasn't something real, something tangible, happening behind the scenes? Banks of this caliber do not make moves based on internet rumors, they move based on hard data, on official notifications from the Federal Reserve, on interbank communication that we, the public, are not privy to. This action by Chase is a giant, flashing signal that something has fundamentally shifted in the status of these currencies. It means that the liquidity, the convertibility, and the international recognition that has been the missing piece for so long is now being put into place. This is the infrastructure for a major financial event being built right before our eyes. Think of it like watching a major retailer like Amazon suddenly start stocking a product that was only ever sold in a few obscure shops before. It immediately lends that product an undeniable legitimacy and opens the floodgates for mainstream adoption. That is precisely what is happening here with the dinar and the dong at Chase Bank. This is the green light, the signal from the inside that the long-awaited process is not just a possibility, but is now an operational reality. The mere fact that they have set a specific date, November 5th, tells us this is a coordinated, planned rollout, not some accidental glitch or a limited test. This is a scheduled, deliberate launch into the public financial sphere. So the immediate, burning question that anyone with a logical mind should be asking right now is, why? Why would a behemoth like JP Morgan Chase, an institution that has navigated every financial crisis and global shift with calculated precision, suddenly stick its neck out for two of the most controversial currencies on the planet? The answer is not found in a single memo, but in a confluence of geopolitical and economic events that have been building to this exact tipping point for years, and to ignore this context is to miss the entire story. Let's start with Iraq, because the evidence there is overwhelming and points directly towards this moment of international rehabilitation. For over a year, we have been tracking the Iraqi government's relentless push to remove their currency from the international sanctions list and break free from the economic shackles that have held them back. They have been methodically checking off every box required by the international community. They passed a federal budget law that was deadlocked for years, a critical sign of political stability. They have been engaging in high-level financial diplomacy, with the Iraqi finance minister himself meeting with the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund, not to ask for loans, but to discuss the roadmap for the dinar's reintegration into the global economy. Most importantly, they have been systematically reducing their dependence on the US dollar for internal trade, a move specifically designed to strengthen the dinar's standalone value and to comply with international anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing standards. This isn't speculation, this is documented policy shift reported by financial newswires like Reuters. Then, you have the bombshell announcement from the Central Bank of Iraq just a few months ago, where they officially declared the end of the dollar auction system, the primary mechanism through which dollars were funneled into the country, often through questionable channels. Shutting down that system was the equivalent of Iraq declaring its economic independence and signaling to the world that its own currency was now strong enough to handle domestic and international trade. Now, let's pivot to the Vietnamese Dong, because its story is equally compelling and operates on a parallel track. Vietnam is no longer the war-torn nation of the past, it is an emerging economic powerhouse, a manufacturing hub that has successfully attracted massive foreign direct investment from giants like Samsung, Intel, and Apple. The World Bank has consistently upgraded Vietnam's economic outlook, praising its robust growth, which has consistently been between 6 and 7% annually, one of the highest rates in the world. This isn't a fluke, it's a trend. And with that kind of economic firepower comes a stronger, more stable currency. The State Bank of Vietnam has been meticulously managing the dong's value, allowing for a very gradual and controlled appreciation against the US dollar, a classic sign of a central bank building confidence in its currency ahead of a broader international rollout. But the real masterstroke, the geopolitical chess move that ties both the dinar and the dong together in this Chase Bank announcement, is the de-dollarization movement that is sweeping the globe. Nations from China to Brazil, from Russia to Saudi Arabia, are actively creating financial systems that bypass the US dollar. They are trading in their own currencies, building alternative payment networks like China's CIPS, and openly discussing a new, multipolar financial world. In this new world, currencies that were once considered exotic or peripheral, like the dinar and the dong, become strategically vital. They represent access to Iraq's oil and Vietnam's manufacturing might without needing to go through the dollar. Chase Bank isn't just being bold, it's being strategically brilliant. They are positioning themselves as the premier Western bank to facilitate this new trade corridor. They see the writing on the wall. They understand that the future of global finance is not a single reserve currency, but a basket of currencies, and by being the first major bank to officially support the exchange of the dinar and dong, they capture this entire emerging market before any of their competitors even know what hit them. This is about first-mover advantage on a global, historic scale. The internal risk assessment teams at Chase did not greenlight this on a whim, they did so because the hard data, the political agreements, and the economic indicators all aligned to show that the risk has dramatically diminished and the reward is now astronomically high. This is a calculated business decision based on cold, hard, financial facts that are playing out on the world stage right now. Now, with all of this information laid out, with the legitimacy confirmed and the global economic shifts explained, we arrive at the most critical part of this entire discussion, the part that moves beyond theory and directly into your life, your financial future, and the actions you must take right now. The November 5th launch date at Chase Bank is not the finish line, it is the starting pistol for a chain of events that will unfold with breathtaking speed, and your position in the first few hours and days of this new reality will determine everything. The first and most immediate consequence of this announcement will be a massive, unprecedented surge in public awareness. For years, the topic of the dinar and dong was confined to specific online forums and dedicated groups, but as of November 5th, it explodes into the mainstream consciousness. Every major news outlet, from CNN to Fox Business, from Bloomberg to Reuters, will be forced to run a story on it. Why? Because Chase Bank is news that everyone understands. That mainstream media spotlight will trigger a tidal wave of new investors, millions of people who had never heard of these currencies before, all rushing to get a piece of what they now perceive as a guaranteed opportunity. This is basic supply and demand economics, but on a scale we have never before witnessed with a currency. The limited supply of physically available dinar and dong notes, the ones you can hold in your hand, is about to be met with a global demand that is infinite in comparison. This creates a powerful upward pressure on the value that no central bank can easily control. But here is the crucial point that you must understand. the initial exchange rates set by Chase on November 5th are just the opening act. They are the baseline. They are not the final value. The real price discovery will happen in the open market, driven by that frantic global demand. We have seen this movie before, on a smaller scale, with other currencies during times of revaluation. The initial bank rate is quickly rendered obsolete by the sheer volume of buyers, leading to a rapid, almost vertical, appreciation. This is why waiting to see what happens is the single most expensive mistake you can make. The window of opportunity to acquire these currencies at their current, pre-mass awareness price levels is slamming shut as we speak. The infrastructure is now live, the validation is absolute, and the global herd is about to be awakened. Your next steps are not just important, they are urgent. This is the moment where you transition from being a passive observer to an active participant in a historic wealth transfer. The first step is to verify your own local Chase branch's preparedness. Do not assume every branch will be fully operational on day one. You need to call them, speak to a manager, and confirm their specific procedures for dinar and dong exchanges. Are there limits on the amount? What identification is required? Get the facts directly from the source. Secondly, you must immediately review your own financial position. How much of this opportunity do you want to capture? This is not the time for hesitation, it is the time for decisive action based on the evidence that is now irrefutable. And thirdly, and this is the most important action you will take today, you need to stay connected to a source of real-time, accurate information. The landscape is now moving at light speed, and misinformation will spread like wildfire. Rumors will fly, fake screenshots will circulate, and people will try to create panic and confusion for their own gain. You need a lifeline to the truth. That is exactly why we are here. Our team has been ahead of this story for years, and we have the sources, the experience, and the dedication to guide you through every single step of this process. We will be your filter for the noise and your source for the facts. So here is what I need you to do right now. Do not just close this video and think about it later. The clock is ticking, and every minute counts. First, hit that like button and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, because the next 72 hours are critical, and we will be releasing urgent updates that you cannot afford to miss. Secondly, turn on those notifications by tapping the bell icon, because when we go live with breaking news, you need to be the first to know. And thirdly, and most importantly, go down into the comments section right now and type November 5th. This is not just a comment, it is a statement of intent. It lets me know that you are part of this informed inner circle, that you understand the magnitude of what is happening, and that you are ready to take control of your destiny. I will be actively monitoring those comments, responding to your questions, and building a community of prepared, proactive individuals. This is it. This is the moment we have been waiting for. Do not let history record you as a spectator. Seize this opportunity, take action right now, and let's navigate this new financial frontier together.